So welcome to another edition of Ask Girl or Ask Doctor, where me and Dr. Sahota will be answering all the questions that you have thankfully presented to us over the past month or so. Now, first of all, Dr. Sahota, how have you been? What have you been working on? What have you been thinking about the past month or so when it comes to...
Well, you know, I've been busy with my home care company, which is about to launch in a couple of weeks' time, Vitality Home Health. So, I've been extremely busy with that. Busy as a GP. It's cold flu season, so everyone's coming in to get their flu jabs.
Yes.
Just trying to deal with patients and trying to teach them how to tackle with medical issues through lifestyle changes, really.
Nice. And if you could also share about, because I think it's really important to talk about almost like your unique selling point or your vision going forward with your home care business, because I think you're addressing it from a very different angle as to what many other home care providers might.
Yeah, well, there isn't a home care company with a GP on board, and the idea is for me to go in and really do a proper lifestyle consultation. So I want to go through all their medication, and I know for most people, especially 70, 80-year-olds, half their medications are useless and causing more problems and actually causing admissions to hospital.
Can you give an example of that?
Well, there's plenty of tablets, like say tablets that people take to control their bladder. They don't really work for their bladder, they're still incontinent, but it lowers their blood pressure. So they're falling, nobody's really checking their blood pressure, they don't really need to take that tablet. Right. And in fact, all they need to do, in a lot of cases, what I've asked patients to do is to eliminate caffeine, and only kind of drink water for a week, and their incontinence issues resolve. So simple things like this. I just want to educate people about the tablets that they're on, and I mean, maybe other GPs won't be that happy but they'll know exactly what they're taking the tablets for. And I think 50% of the medications can be stopped or reduced, and that can help them immensely. And then obviously the other simple things I'm going to ask patients to do is go back to basics. No matter how old you are, you need to move, you need to get some sunshine, fresh air, we need to sort the sleep out, and we need to get you kind of mentally active rather than sitting all day watching television and numbing the brain. And
nice.
So that's the approach I'm going to be using.
That sounds positive.
Yeah.
What I wanted to do, as you suggested, is actually kick off with a slightly different angle. You said that you're very happy to talk about mental health, so what I want to do is start off with a discussion as to why at least the reporting of mental health issues are higher, whether or not mental health issues are more prevalent or not, but at least the reporting seems to be increasing. The diagnosis seems to be more popular now or more likely now. And I want to talk about this, the retraction of antidepressants, so as doctors are starting to not prescribe antidepressants as easily, as far as I can read.
It's kind of, the trend is reversing. Initially, I think a few years ago, the Royal College of Psychiatry, they wanted everyone to be on antidepressants, everyone, which is silly, really, because a lot of patients with just mild depression after a bereavement, you don't put everyone on an antidepressant when someone close has passed away. It's silly. We'd all be on antidepressants, and they've got their side effects. So there's been huge numbers of people in it, and also even teenagers being put on antidepressants. And there were reports a number of years ago which it actually caused suicidal symptoms. Putting teenagers on antidepressants, and so there's been lots and lots of problems. But going back to kind of mental health issues, it is huge. We do live in a stressful society. I think sleep is a major problem, which causes a lot of anxiety. I think there's a lack of social support, moral support. I think there is a breakdown of society where we don't really talk to each other. In the old days, you used to have a cup of tea, knock on the neighbour's door, and I think that used to solve a lot of issues, really. And that was your free counselling. But people don't have time to talk to one another, and I think there is a lack of support, and we've got all this social media, and I think that's causing issues that I've talked to before. But yeah, depression is on the rise, stress is on the rise, obviously drugs is on the rise, as is alcohol, recreational, everything else. So mental health is a big problem these days, huge.
Going back to something interesting that you pointed out, is that when mental health first, I was just going to go put this on Instagram Live.
Yeah.
You mentioned that at least initially, when it comes to mental health, psychiatrists wanted to get everyone on antidepressants, and it seems to me, now this is me coming from a manual therapy perspective, but it seems to me that as soon as a new problem presents itself, whether you're a surgeon, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a chiropractor or osteopath, everyone wants to try and fix it, and everyone wants to be able to claim to fix it. And do you feel like that is the same problem with mental health? The only reason why I ask is I can draw up correlations with, for example, knee arthroscopies for meniscus tears, where as soon as people start to warrant them, or even know back pain as being a problem, you get spinal surgeons claim to be able to fix it, chiropractors claim to be able to fix it, osteopaths claim to be able to fix it, when really evidence has shown us that just moderate treatment and exercise is shown to have the most beneficial effect. So do you feel that people are sometimes a little bit too gung-ho at...
I think we're all gung-ho. It's just, I mean, if you go back to your smartphones, as soon as the next smartphone comes out, everybody thinks their smartphone is just not working, or they need to get the latest smartphone. So any new technology, any new drug that comes out, everybody jumps on the bandwagon to use it. And then you've got all these drug companies pushing it. Advertising works because we have leaflets and usual on our GP magazines, all these drugs are being advertised, and it does work. So when anything new that comes along, I think it's just human nature.
Right. Okay. So we need to expect that people are going to rush to the market to try and produce a solution, and then we just have to have the responsibility to at least have a bit of self-awareness, a bit of critical analysis to make sure that we're doing what's best.
And we're in a quick fix society, aren't we? So everything, because we're in a quick fix society and there's something that promises to get rid of this and get rid of that, we instantly go for it. Really everything, as you know, with anything, it's patience and time. And going back to your old methods, really, that's what really works.
It seems that when we look at humans in a real kind of stereotypical natural environment, whether that's a hunter-gatherer environment, or whether that's an early development, almost like a civilization that's early in development, it seems like we as human beings have a lot of natural forms of nutritional rehabilitation or nutritional medicine, natural rehabilitation, counselling. It's all there. And at the moment, it looks like you're saying that the intervention should be a catalyst to that, not a replacement.
Now where everyone's supported by WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram thing, and the personal touch is lost. That you can't be sitting with, like I said before, having a cup of tea with one of your best friends and just having a chat. But that's a difficult question. How do we reconnect with family members, friends, and things? I know myself. I've got some of my best friends I haven't seen this year, and which is wrong. Really,
it's difficult. I do feel like it almost has to be a general cultural shift away from instant gratification, away from the rat race, and more going back towards what is really better for our mental health, our social connections. I think that value has a lot to do with it, and I think that the more people value things, whether that's materialistically or whether that's status-wise, if people valued social connections or mental health or physical health and would to put a currency on it, and that currency would be of higher value than their status or than instant gratification, I think we would see a shift. But I don't know if that would happen actually in the...
It's difficult, isn't it? It's, I mean, you kind of hit the point about rat race. I mean, we talk about it all the time, and then I'm sure you've talked about it, I've talked about it with my friends, and you get these high flyers in London or wherever where they quit the rat race. They go and live on a farm, and you see episodes about them on TV, and they do seem to have a better quality of life. It's reconnecting with nature and with friends and going back to basics. But it's important to talk about it because I think people need to be aware there are ways to get to reconnect with your natural state. And for me, a big thing is nature. And I encourage a lot of people to go into their back garden, to do a bit of gardening and just reconnect with it. They don't have to go to the nearest forest, although I think in Japan or they call it forest bathing, where they send people into forests and it improves their mental health. There's supposed to be some sort of natural energy from the forest and things.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not even a case of being outside. It's literally, there's a difference between being outside and being in the forest.
There is something about it. If you research it, it's called forest bathing.
I'll have to make my mum write on that name, because I've been calling her out that she's just full of rubbish.
No.
So you need to be outside in nature. I'll have to tell her that you said that.
It's true. It's absolutely.
I'll let her know. Last one. Now we've got a few questions here that we need to go over. So Sarah has asked us, should we be weighing kids at schools? Now I've got my opinion on this. I want to know what your opinion is.
Oh, it's a real tough one. I'm not. We need to do something, but I think with kids, weighing them, that could cause a lot of mental health issues as well. The option has been the GP, and that's why GPs, I think, are becoming more and more stressed, because that's the only port of call that people have, and everyone goes there. Before, there were always other options, to kind of for other people to help, but now it just seems that
you're
the place for everything, for mental health, for physical, for everything really.
On the back, I'd be curious to know how many people miss a. Yes. What's your? Do you know what your percentage of no-shows is? Yeah,
it varies from month to month. It can range from 5 to 15%. So there's quite a few people that do miss appointments. You send them letters. You explain that other people can take their appointments. It's frustrating, but again, the only way to stop that really is to charge them. If they miss appointments, we have to charge them. But it's a difficult one.
Last couple of questions. We've actually touched on this last time. What is the general knowledge base of GPs outside of pharmaceutical intervention, i.e. nutrition?
There isn't. They don't have good nutritional knowledge. Medical schools don't teach it. There is a kind of shift. There are a group of GPs. There's a GP called Dr. David Unwin, and he's introduced a Royal College of General Practitioners module on a diet for diabetes. So there's a slow awareness of these kind of young professionals out there, and that doctors need to know about nutrition. And it seems a shame, because the most important thing is nutrition and exercise, and the fact that when patients come and see us, we don't really analyse their diet, where a lot of disease starts, and disease is, it gets worse. It is quite sad, but nutrition does need to be taught in medical schools, and there are doctors making noises out there. How long it'll take before it's introduced to education, I don't know.
Yeah, so there's a bit of a theory. Is the reason why we don't have nutrition being taught in school, in medical school, is because you can't charge for it, in the sense that you can't, you can charge for a drug, but you can't charge for nutritional advice. Do you think that holds steady, or do you think it's just the natural thing that needs to change?
No, I think that doesn't. I think it's just a natural thing that needs to change, because it's never been taught for many years. Because I think medicine's always been about, here, take a pill, or here, I'll get my incisor out and cut this out, either operating or drug. So I think traditionally it's always been like that. But I'm obviously going back hundreds of years ago. I think the doctor was the herbalist, and was the nutritionist, and it was through nutrition and herbs that we solve problems. And we need to get the nutrition education back in medical schools, really.
And like you said, it tends to be about a 17-year pipeline where we get research to actual application.
Yeah, it's going to be at least 17 years.
All right, next question. So this is actually from Ellie.
All right.
So do you feel that doctors become too reliant on scans without trusting their case history, or without trusting their...
Yeah, I think, Ellie, you're probably right in the fact that I think the listening skills have gone. Over the years, because the time gets, we used to have a good proper 10-minute consultation. Now with computers and everything else, you've got to type your notes up.